Alright guys, Monado Boxing here, or Monado Max, whichever you prefer to call me. We're here with another Fight Week predictions video. This is a fight I am super excited for. Alexander Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte 2, the rematch. I will never forget the first fight. That first fight was mind-blowing for me to watch. We saw Alexander Povetkin get knocked down twice in round 4, and literally 30 seconds into round number 5, he comes out with the left uppercut, makes it look like he's going for the body shot, and then boom, uppercut to the jaw, knocks Dillian Whyte cold, completely out. I'm excited for this repeat or revenge fight, but let's get into the predictions. So obviously this is a big event for Matchroom. They put out an amazing undercard, which at the time recording this, there's apparently one more big fight to be announced. It's supposed to be in the Cruiserweight division. I'm really excited for what the fights are this week. We got Ted Cheeseman. I still can't believe that's his name. Ted Cheeseman is fighting, I believe it's his mandatory, and it's an undefeated fighter. I think Ted Cheeseman is an amazing fighter, especially the way he fought Sam Eggington. I was hoping we would see the Ted Cheeseman and Sam Eggington rematch, but it never happened. Maybe it can still happen. I know they're going to redo Fight Camp this year. Maybe Eddie Hearn will be like, you know what? A lot of people talked about that Ted Cheeseman and Sam Eggington match. Why not do a rematch? I think it makes sense for both of the fighters since, some people were split on the decision. I thought Ted Cheeseman won by, I think I had it 2 rounds up Ted Cheeseman. I felt like he won. I think it was 115, 113 is what I gave to Ted Cheeseman. And, yeah. Loads of fights happening on the undercard. We'll get back to the undercard in just a bit. I want to talk about Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin. I am expecting a very similar matchup with the first fight. I think Povetkin's going to get dropped a few times. I think Whyte might even get dropped. I think Povetkin's going to win again. This is definitely not going the distance. I think it's going to end in 7 rounds. I think in round 6 or 7, one of them is going to knock each other out. Obviously, Povetkin has a... it looks like the thing that hurts Povetkin the most are body shots. And Dillian Whyte hits very hard. Looking at just comparing a lot of other fighters, I feel like Dillian Whyte might be the heaviest hitter in heavyweight boxing. He might be the hardest hitter. I don't know, I might be wrong about that, but just judging how early he was getting Povetkin, it makes me feel like he really is a hard hitter. Because, with the Joshua Povetkin fight, it took, I believe, it was round 7 when the fight was completely stopped, and I think Povetkin got dropped in round 7. I think that's the first time he got dropped in that fight, was in round 7 or 6. So it's interesting because Dillian Whyte's punches, the first knockdown, it might have been the second knockdown. The first punch that caused Povetkin to drop wasn't like a good combination. It wasn't like a straight punch. It dropped him from that. I think that's interesting, and I think Dillian Whyte is definitely going to attempt to get a early knockout. Dillian Whyte is what I like to call a very hard-headed fighter. The term hard-headed I use, the reason why I say that, I've been noticing throughout the interviews from just all his fights, he always tries to end the fight early. I know a lot of fighters try to do it, but he's very hard-headed about it. That's what pretty much caused him the loss against Alexander Povetkin, is that he was trying to end it way too early, and that's what caused the defeat. Dillian Whyte has a major weakness that I don't see many people talk about, and that is his chin. We've seen him get dropped by Joshua. That's the punch that knocked Dillian Whyte out in the Joshua versus Whyte fight. We also have seen the uppercut punch drop him with, I believe it was Oscar Rivas was his name. I believe it was round 9 that he got dropped from an uppercut. I don't remember the Joseph Parker Dillian Whyte fight. I know he got dropped in the final round. I don't remember if it was an uppercut or not. But it seems to be he has a very weak jaw. He might have did a lot of training for that fight, but judging from his previous fights, it doesn't seem like he cares about working on the jaw. Especially with training videos, I don't see him trying to work on the jaw. And I know it's hard to work on the jaw, but he can do stuff. And we're not seeing that stuff from Dillian Whyte in his training videos. Now, maybe he does it privately. But I noticed that with Dillian Whyte, he's very hard-headed. I mean, he's still very hard-headed after losing to Povetkin. He's planning on still going an early knockout and just try to end it as fast as possible. And with the Joshua Pulev fight, I bring this fight up. Dillian Whyte was there in attendance. Kudin Cassidus did an interview with him, and Dillian Whyte was talking about how Joshua should have ended it early in round 4, when round 3 was the 2 knockdowns that happened. He was talking about that Joshua should have just ended it right there. If I was in there, I would end it. That's what he kept saying. So, seeing these interviews makes me realize that Dillian Whyte isn't changing his fight style. And out of all the Dillian Whyte fights I've seen, I haven't seen all of them. I think I've seen like 7 or 8 fights of his. I feel like the Alexander Povetkin performance was actually his best performance. He was very smart. He was doing some smart boxing moves. I liked what I saw from Dillian Whyte. But then when knockdowns happened, he kind of just, he stopped. He really tried to go in for the knockout. And looking at these interviews where he's talking about it's going to be a very same performance, he's going all out, I think we're going to see a repeat. Because the thing about Alexander Povetkin, I know he's known for his left hooks, but if you look at some of his more recent fights like Michael Hunter, Joshua, I think even Huey Fury, he did this, he throws the left uppercut very frequently now. That's a very frequent punch. And it's the punch that actually dropped Derek Chisora, according to David Hay. He said that before. So I'm expecting Povetkin to really be throwing the left uppercut a lot more now that he realizes that drops Dillian Whyte. So I'm expecting a very similar fight. I think it's going to go 6 or 7 rounds. Povetkin's going to get dropped a couple times. When Whyte senses blood, he's going to go in trying to knock Alexander Povetkin out. And then he goes for the left uppercut again. And that's what stops Dillian Whyte. Knockout. That's my predictions on that fight. I want Alexander Povetkin to win. I'm not the biggest Dillian Whyte fan, I'm going to be honest. Some of his comments I really don't like. And I still hope we eventually see Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury. I think that's a great fight. I just, with how he's handled the whole Povetkin situation, I want Povetkin to win again. Because I didn't like how he was talking about, like, Alexander Povetkin never had COVID. I mean, and that's also another thing. Is this COVID going to affect Povetkin? Because the man's old. Well, he's not. In boxing, he's old. The dude is 41, and I think he's turning 42 soon. So the man continues to get older, and, you know, COVID, since he's an athlete, could affect him since he really should be retired right now, Povetkin. It'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting. If Povetkin won again, that'd be pretty funny, because we could, depending who wins Joshua versus the Fury fights, we could be seeing Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin, the rematch. The rematch that literally I don't think anyone was really asking for. It was a great fight, but I don't think anyone wanted a rematch. If that ended up happening, that would be pretty hilarious, I feel like. But I think this fight is going to be exciting. It's been my most anticipated fight since the rematch was announced back in November, which then got pushed to January 30th, then it got pushed to March 6th, then it got pushed to March 27th. Hopefully this fight still happens and nobody gets COVID. It'd be pretty funny if Dillian Whyte got COVID and then he had to stop the fight, because the reason why I say that is because he was accused, Alexander Povetkin, of never having COVID. And obviously, I would never wish COVID upon anyone. I just think it would be funny and poetic since he accused Povetkin of never having COVID. Anyways, I'm pumped. I also think Dillian Whyte is overtraining for this fight. Overtraining is not good for any boxing fight. That's my opinion on that. I don't want to get... I know this video is already pretty long, so yeah. Back to the undercard. I'm trying to remember... what else? I remember it being a amazing undercard. Ricky Hatton's son, Campbell Hayton, I think is his name. He's fighting, but they never announced who he's fighting yet. at the time of this video. I'm recording a week before the fight, or wait, actually 2 weeks before the fight. So that fight has not been announced. Kane Baker is fighting a Dillian Whyte, a fighter that he signed, I believe. I forgot his name. I like Kane Baker. I hope he wins that fight. I like him because he seems like a nice guy. I want him to win all the time because, you know, he's a wholesome guy. I hope he wins. Chris Congo. He's fighting, I believe, I'm so sorry, I don't remember who he's fighting. I hope Chris Congo wins, though. Who else is fighting? I'm so sorry, I'm doing a bad job at this. But the main video was to talk about Povetkin and Dillian Whyte, so yeah. Alright, everyone. Well, this wraps the video for today. Let me know what your predictions are for Alexander Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte. I'm expecting pretty much a repeat of the first fight, except it goes a couple more rounds longer. I think there's going to be a brutal knockout from one of them. Whether that's Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where the fighters are going to go after this, because if I'm Alexander Povetkin, I know he's getting old. After this fight, let's just say he wins, he has the mandatory position for the winner of Joshua and Fury. So I wonder if Povetkin's going to do maybe the Michael Hunter rematch, or even Luis Ortiz is who I want to see fight Povetkin. I think that would be an awesome fight. Anyways, I've been talking too much. We'll be talking about all that stuff at a later date. And I will not be streaming the fight, unfortunately. I'm not doing any commentary because I'm watching it with some family and friends. So, yeah. I've been talking for too much. Make sure to like the video, check out my Twitter, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.